Hello everyone, and welcome to another Dwarven Tavern Talk. I'm Dr. Jeff Goins, and we have with us today...
Lyric Goins.
Ian Goins.
And we are talking about... We actually had an experience today that was very inspiring.
Very negatively inspiring.
Negatively inspiring, but some people say there's no such thing as a bad experience, because everything you can learn from, including bad grammar, like that last sentence. Lyric lost control of her car a couple days ago, back on Friday.
Let me explain.
Please.
There was a lot of noise coming from my back tires, and I was going to come check it out when I came up from South Carolina to Ohio. About halfway there in Tennessee, like exactly halfway there, the steering. No, what is it called? The axle, that's the right word, broke away from my wheel, and that caused me to fishtail uncontrollably, and when I was trying to regain control, I slammed into the guardrail. And that was all that commotion, and then I got towed, and the person with which we have towed my car has been a little...
We towed your car with a person?
Yup.
No wonder he was in such a bad mood.
You just tie it
No,
up
but
to the
like
car.
the company.
Yes.
Guys, the company is what we are inspired by.
Yeah, because I had to call a fella and get in touch with him about things. And this is, I'm not going to mention any names, because he is the type he's very litigious in nature, so he would sue.
But to be honest, I don't think that he has the means of which to find us.
Well, that may be true. I don't think he'll ever see this video, because
Don't.
I can't help it. He embodies all the negative connotations about the hills of Tennessee and Kentucky and areas like that, like kind of thing, without geting derogatory. I know I've got a lot of friends from Tennessee and Kentucky, and I know a lot of people that graduated from NKU and the University of Kentucky. Very smart people. But
He's just a living stereotype.
What's amazing about this is she had to stay at a hotel. And the people there were like grade A Southern hospitality kind of people.
Absolutely, they were wonderful people. It was what was the name of it? Because
they were they were Parkway Inn.
The Parkway Inn in Jellicoe.
They are right off of exit 160.
Off of 160.
They
Great
were
people.
Amazing people.
They're wonderful people, and they embody, like you said, they embody all of the most wonderful connotations of Southern hospitality.
They were so nice to me.
But this guy he's a shyster, he's a money grubber, he runs a tow truck company, and they said, the reviews on his website say that he owns that territory, because he's the only one that has anything. Ridiculous prices, and so I had to deal with him today, and he said he'd call me back, and I made another deal, and he called me back finally. And I told him I made another deal, and he said, "Well, why'd you want to treat me that way? Why'd you want to do me that way? I've been on the phone all day trying to find somebody to buy your car because we're going to scrap it." And I'm like,
as if it was your responsibility to know that.
Right. I said, I didn't know you were calling other people. I didn't know what you had to do that. You told me you were going through your paperwork to find out what kind of price, and you said you'd call me back. And he said, "Well, I just bring it on down." And he was just really, really nasty, really rude, nasty old man. And it enraged me. I mean, I haven't had a good man on for ages.
Yeah.
But because I'm older and more mellow. But today, he was lucky that it was a 3-hour drive, because at most I'll cross the street to kick somebody's ass at this point in time in my life. I mean, back when I was 20, I would have driven down there and given him a whooping. But today, not so much. So that inspired us to talk about how to use real life experiences to fuel your adversaries, to make real spherical characters, not just rounded, but three-dimensional spherical characters out of your real-life negative experiences. So what do you think?
Well, this is also using that, I think you've mentioned this before in a previous video, where you were talking about having an awful teacher, and that just taught you to be a good teacher.
Yeah.
Because you're using what you don't want to be like to be an example of what you don't want to be like. So,
Right.
like, for example, like if you had a bad guy, and you needed a sour, money-grabbing personality to base it off of, well, you could use the
you
towing.
could use that
star.
guy as an example.
Right. So, or like if you wanted to make sure that like you had a banker or something, or someone who was in the same field, you would know how to not use that character or how not to have his personality. That's my input.
Yeah,
You ended abruptly. It was like capital period.
with a capital dot. I was like, that.
It was 14 font.
14.4.
Circle.
Yeah, so what do you think?
Well, it's like imagine a character that. Okay, let's see. I'm trying to think of what kind of party. Like you had a merchant party, or you had a party of rogues who were going to an area, or any kind of people who were trying to be nice, and they end up talking to the mayor, and the mayor of this little town is this horrible person who is just all about themselves, all about their own money, and they just got this like behind attitude. Like they're directly to you, they're nice, but they're not doing anything for you.
That's called
and
two-faced.
I'm talking lyric, but everything they do is immediately coming around and making them money off of you. So it's like the next time you look at them, you're like, I can trust nothing this guy says.
Right.
Not a single word out of his
Right,
mouth I
right.
can take for granted.
I'm sorry, interrupting you all over the place.
But we work together on this lyric. God.
Building off of what you're saying.
I know.
Actually, what you did that. You made me lost my train of thought.
I win. Yay.
But I forgot it. I forgot it.
That's a shame.
Victory is mine.
So,
I'll get back to it. I'll get back.
Yeah,
to it.
you'll get back to it. When you do, you can interrupt me.
It's my job.
Yeah.
Because you guys interrupt me off camera all the time.
Oh yeah,
all
of
the
course.
time.
We will
Continue.
never.
I'm
let
just
her
getting
finish
back
it.
to you now.
We'll never let her finish this.
So, the key to this whole experience and this whole experiment, because you can do this yourself and try this at home. Maybe not at home so much as out and about, because or whatever. I don't care. Try it anyway.
Try it.
Try it. I'm in a bad mood today. What you can do, or what you should do, in order to try and see if this little social experiment works, is when you're dealing with people out in the world, and you won't see any people like this out in the world because
I don't exist.
He stays locked away in
Yep.
his own domicile.
Mole man.
Mole man. Yeah, when he wants to come out, he has to chew through his dirty laundry like a naked mole rat.
It's funny. It's because it's true.
That's true.
It is.
When you're out in the world, unlike naked mole rat, man here, no man, guy.
That's funny.
Yes. What you can do is actually, when you're interacting with people, no matter who they are, watch their behavior. And I don't mean like creepy, like
Hi, how you doing?
I'm fine.
Fascinating.
Start taking notes. How are you? Laughs.
Giggles.
Giggles nervously. Yeah, don't do that. But
I actually do that and record it. I just see it.
No, that's an example of what not to do and
What
what
not
your
to do.
characters
Yeah.
would like. That's using the bad experience.
the bad experience and how they would react to that. So you can try all kind of things. As long as you don't hurt anybody, of course.
As long as
You might walk up to somebody and go, doink! Fascinating. He's beating me senseless. But watch what people do and record their behavior in your mind and say, well, this would be good for, like you're checking out at Walmart or whatever. And you say, okay, I've got a waitress I have a waitress NPC that would be perfect as this lady, because we had I don't know which of you were with me that day, but she was a waitress at Walmart. A waitress at Walmart. She was a cashier at Walmart. Who
She waits the money.
That's actually possible because they do sometimes have food places.
yes.
You can have technically.
a waitress at Walmart. But she was a cashier, and we got to talking to her. And I think it was you and I who were there. And we've come to find out that she was a poet. She did poetry and wrote books of poetry just for her own enjoyment and stuff. And she was a very deep. Of course, a real individual who has outside likes and not just
who, like a cashier is not a person that just sits there all day, every day, like a robot coming in and crank up the back and is like, hello, welcome to Walmart.
Some of them are.
Some of them are.
But it was really inspiring that she was such a, had so many, and I don't know why it was surprising to me. Because
there was a person there?
There was a person behind the cashier.
Yeah.
Within the cashier, and it was really kind of an epiphany.
To treat everyone like human beings.
Like human beings, because I don't get out much either, apparently.
What is this sunlight that everyone's talking about?
What is this?
That's more him than it is you.
Yeah, it is, because I get out and do stuff on occasion. But yeah, and so what would be you are. What would be a good example of what I'm talking about for you? I mean, who have you experienced? I mean, just pull somebody out of your memory.
That would be impressive.
Oh, I don't know. Name her Athena. I can't think of any. I can't think of anything off the top of my head. I usually try to put that out of my mind.
How can you think on your head? Isn't it all inside your head?
I don't know. I'll have to think about this for a little bit. I can conjure up an example. I haven't.
My neck. I just snapped my neck.
But I can think of something like if a waitress, you're sitting and you're like, "Hi, I would like this, and this," and she doesn't even make eye contact, doesn't ask if you're if you want anything, never refills your drink or anything like that, and she's just all around rude. You would know, if you had a people person as a character, you would know to not do that, or. Because all I'm thinking about is in work situations, and that doesn't really apply to gamer situations.
That's the most person-to-person contact that actually really is in societies when you go somewhere and you have to talk to somebody to get something.
You have to talk people.
You have to talk to somebody to get something from them or do something for them. If you are a cashier. And this, the stereotypical little old lady comes over and is searching in her purse for coupons or something for 15 minutes. And then she starts talking about her, trip to Hawaii. And you're like, you go places? You do things? Because it's human? Yeah, you could have somebody who is, making a character a well-rounded thing. Because, the stereotypical, back on the old guy, the mayor,
The mayor?
Yeah, he is all about the money and all about that, and it's that's a pretty stereotypical villain. A pretty stereotypical villain who will do anything he wants to make money off of you. But he has to have some kind of backstory. And, because, just having a 2D villain is kill whatever, you'll never remember him. But, if he had all of the stuff going on in the background to change what kind of person he was, to make you remember that character, I think that's what we're trying to get here.
Yeah, make your characters. Don't just make them rounded. Having a well-rounded NPC is someone who you have all their stats down, you've got all their traits written down, taken note of,
their full character
their
sheet,
equipment, all their character sheet. But to make them to lift them off that page and make them spherical, you need to add experiences from your own life. Because when I was in my my undergrad studies for English, we were talking about character development in stories and in poetry, and this was actually in a poetry class, and the professor said, "Don't write about abstract. Write about the concrete."
I was about to say, write about the stract.
The stract, not the abstract, but the stract itself.
No, but the abstract.
The abstract. And you know, and I told him that there was only so much you can write about flooring, and he said that's not that kind of concrete. We were being witty in class, and because there was a time when you say I love them so much my earlobes stank. You know, it's like, well, that's an abstract concept. You know, that just doesn't. No one can relate to that because everybody has felt love of some sort. So they're like, yeah, okay, so what? But there was a poem that said only he could crawl out from under the basement like that. And we sat on the porch watching the fireworks that night. And that was a very, very specific moment in time. And it was a very specific emotion that this author had. And that specificity was what brought up moments in my own life that, you know, when I was dating my sweetie pie, we had a lot of those very specific moments because, you know, a lifetime is made entirely out of specific moments strung together.
Yeah.
And we had a lot of those very specific moments, and I've started getting this like, yeah, the crawl space in the basement. I've never done that. That's weird, but yeah. and we had moments like that because
I'm still stuck on the stinky earlobes.
Yeah.
like that. I can only think of Plasmo
Plasmo.
with stinky earlobes.
Ha ha ha. Plasmo. So that's the same thing you need to do with your NPCs in order to make them relatable to everyone, is make them very specific people out of your memories that you have taken their face, peel it off like I wanted to do this guy's face today, and place it onto the character sheet. That sounds really horrible. But,
It really, really
but,
does.
You know, I don't mean that literally.
If
I
you
mean
like
a very
facey character sheets.
facing character sheet. Which way is he facing? Up. You take the very specific image, the very specific person.
Cut image.
Image out. I started to say character. Image out of your head and put it on your character, and project that image to the people because you experienced exactly how that dickhead acted. Or whatever,
And
whomever.
how you're how someone involved with that character would have reacted.
Which would be yourself,
Right.
or the people that you were with.
For my campaigns, what I usually do is I make it to where the characters can... I make the NPCs as in-depth as I can to a point where the characters can, you know, guess what they're going to do next because they can picture in their mind how this person thinks. And when you can look at think of an NPC, you hear their name, and then you say like I would do this. You can immediately think of how they react. That means that person, that NPC, is developing a personality. And a predictable personality is something that, that stereotypical bad guy usually won't have. Actually, they rarely ever do have.
Yeah, you're right.
It's like, the stereotypical, the necromancer. He's a guy who lives in a cave, who summons zombies and pisses off the villagers. That's it.
Yeah, so what?
That's
Right.
all he does.
And then what?
Yeah, it's
Exactly.
like in, I believe, one of your campaigns, or either one of your stories, one of the two, there was a necromancer at the end of the tunnel, blah, 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 he killed the zombies, but it turns out he turned into a necromancer to bring back his dead wife, but the power of necromancy just corrupted him completely. And it ended up being more of a sad story, because when he died, he realized that was the only way to see her again. And that was like that moment was like
C'est pas moi, because I didn't I would have cried if I had made that story.
yeah.
So
it was like
me.
that was that really interesting story. And the paladin was like execute. That was actually the good thing.
And that reminds me of Non-Man.
Yeah.
No,
Non-Man. There was
don't go there.
we had a campaign in which she was playing a superhero who could heal people, or she could heal them or send them to Valhalla upon their death, and they were fighting this technologically driven, created flesh golem.
Who was the brother of the other
Who was the-
technologically created flesh golem,
Right.
Unman.
But okay, so they were fought. And they just thought, at first they thought, good bad guy, or a good guy bad guy.
Good guy. Yeah, straight up.
good
straight
guy,
up.
bad guy.
One flesh creation is good guy. One flesh
was like- it was
creation
like-
is bad
this
guy.
was-
One smash your face. One does not.
This one was
Pretty
the
simple.
evil twin.
Yeah, the evil twin.
Yeah,
right.
it was a pretty
right.
stereotypical
Exactly.
scenario.
However, upon deeper discovery,
This guy doesn't do
I,
stereotypical scenarios.
Well, I rolled for divine intervention to save my die, and at the same time I got a vision from my father Odin and saw that he wasn't evil. He was just put together wrong because he was a flesh golem.
and from the moment of his awakening, from the beginning of his consciousness, he felt nothing but pain. And you would be kind of a creep after living for hundreds of years
Yeah, kind of a creep.
in
Yeah,
nothing but pain.
just a little bit.
Yeah, all the time.
Making me miss you, Dad.
So there was it was a terrible elevator accident. He was
Actually,
trying
it was-
to come down
It
through
was
it.
pretty horrible from point A to point B, because
Yeah.
this is like really
Because
paraphrased.
he was chasing him down.
Because okay, now remember, this was a superhero campaign. It's like killing a dragon would be any one of our characters' pastimes.
Right.
And this guy was giving us hell
Yeah.
for like 3 sessions
And
straight.
they were taking this because his character was just a human being that didn't have any special defenses or anything.
with an armor class of like 104, but
Right, but that doesn't save you from a falling elevator.
Yeah, it does not.
So the
a box
golem,
made of metal falling.
all of them, all the superheroes were in this box. They had various powers that didn't help them in a box.
Yeah.
And he jumped down the shaft, and it landed on the top of the elevator and started ripping at the cables. And they're like, "Oh God!" And somehow it fell.
Yeah.
And somehow you
'Cause-
lived. I don't remember
I
exactly
remember.
how.
Well, it's like one had super strength, one had super speed,
No,
one could
Flex.
fly, and one could dodge. It's like-
Flex.
Flex wrapped around her. Flex was basically the Mr. Fantastic
the
of the
bouncy
group,
ball of the group.
and
That's
she
right.
wrapped around her and prevented.
and saved her. So
Saved
Flex
all the
couldn't be
shot.
hurt.
Because
And-
she could actually die and be perfectly fine.
That
because-
was her power.
Yeah.
She resurrected. Like
Yeah. So no one really
Instantly.
cared about her.
Oh, she'll just die. Yeah.
She'll just die anyway.
So at the bottom of this carnage, they crawl out of the wreckage and they see the golem. It was Non-Man, right?
Yes.
And because it was Non-Man and Unman, that was their given labels. They weren't even named; they were labeled by
Yeah.
the scientist. And
That douchewad.
when she did this divine intervention and saw that he was put together wrong, and he was in all this pain because he was still alive.
Yeah, because
Um,
again,
but he
even
had
superhero troubles.
like girders and scrap steel and crap through him.
I do believe we've mentioned this story before in our touching moments,
Yeah, in
Yeah.
the touching moments.
which
And-
we will have a link to either in video or
Yeah, we
down
can do
below.
that totally. And so she looked down, and weren't you asked if he was worthy? Because
Yes.
she could have put him away.
Yes.
And the divine voice of Odin said, "Is he worthy?" And at that moment, they made eye contact.
I'm
And he
crying
said,
inside.
he said, "Forgive me."
Oh God, I lost it so hard.
And she just sat there.
I was like 12. So.
Yeah, and no, you were more like 14,
I am
16.
getting there. I am getting there right now.
And so she said no to Odin and started healing him. And all of his sinews and the pipes and crap that was through him started popping out.
Yeah.
And she healed him, and he became...
Well, I was also losing. I was using my life force to put him back together, and it was killing me. So as I was putting him together as a person, I was decaying. like right before their eyes. I was like turning to ash, and
Yeah.
they didn't know if it was a permanent thing. They like none of us knew if it was a permanent thing or not for me to die. So
we've seen
whenever
her
it
die
happened,
before,
it
but
was,
turning to ash was not the precursor to any of that.
yeah. So they
Yeah.
never knew if I was going to be permanently gone or not. So I was giving up my life to save this creature. And then I didn't even heal him the entire way when
Yeah.
I died. Like, I was dead before I could heal him perfectly. And then from the ashes bloomed a new me in...
With Valkyrie wings. And
I had wings, a helmet, armor on, and
All that cool stuff.
the name of my staff.
Gungnir.
Gungnir.
How did you forget
Odin's
that?
I was
spear.
thinking Mjolnir and Sleipnir. So,
Neither.
Mule sleep near.
and...
It does when it's cold.
And when I was reborn more powerful. So I just basically was like, ugh, the first time. But when I came back, I was just like, you will be healed. And like
Snap.
instantly, he was just fixed.
Yeah, and then he became her follower from thereafter because she forgave him. She had the power to condemn him to whatever, Jotunheim, and or whatever. And
Isn't it Jotunheim?
Jotunheim, yes.
Jotunheim.
Jotunheim. Jotunheim.
Is that Nordland?
Joe
Guy
Tiny.
from Nordland. So, anyway, what it boils down to is the character was three-dimensional, totally three-dimensional. He had all his stats and everything. He was a flesh golem, straight up, but he had the whole spherical aspect, and it was drawn from somebody from in real life. You judge them to be a nasty person until you get to know them and find out they're just in
Or
pain.
they're a nice person until you get to know them
Yeah,
and
you
they
find out
end up
they're
being
just faking
a
it.
whole hella nasty.
So,
Good times.
any final thoughts?
I think that last statement kind of sums it up. Like, you need to make your characters like the real people, and that you need to make sure that they're not flat because you need to get to know them, at least in some way.
Every
Yeah.
character has a story. Every single, especially the villain that you're after, or someone who does your party wrong, you really need to give them that extra bit of life to either make the characters loathe them with a burning passion and speak their name with a hiss ever after, and I think that's really important.
That's all.
Agree.
That's all I'm going to say to that.
Ah!
So, think about that. Leave comments and give us a like and subscribe and all that good stuff because we love that. And let us know what you think. What's your most three-dimensional character? And so
Let's hear about your bad experiences.
yeah, we
And,
will.
a character who's a cube does not count.
And we'll start on someone else. We'll inspire someone else. So, on behalf of the whole cast and crew of the Dwarven Tavern, I'm Dr. Jeff Goins,
I'm Ian Goins.
I'm Lyra Goins.
and we wish for you to want for nothing but adventure. And at first I feared it.
Then I charged.
Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.